Hey everyone, and welcome to the now new AI Leadership Podcast, formerly known as Rebel AI. I'm your host, Sam Joseph, and today we're very lucky to have technologist Daniel Gwerzman on the podcast. Welcome, Daniel.
Hey, welcome, Sam. Thank you very much for having me.
Great to have you here. Yeah, and well, let's leap in with our first question, which is what is your technology origin story? How did you get into tech, and how did it all happen?
Okay, how much time do we have? Um,
You tell me.
it's all it's it's all start when I was really young. So I was born in the 70 in an age that learning disability, dyslexia wasn't really familiar to the education system that I was going to.
Right.
So everything was very slow for me at school, but at home everything was very fast and amazing. So I could took down my parents' VCR, take it apart, put it back together, fix it at a very early age. But to read a book, that was like a challenge.
Mm,
So only later at time, I think it was the eighth grade when they actually realized what's wrong with me or what's different with me.
right.
We can say it. So and then the advisor of the education system was that he might be very slow at reading, but is analytics thinking is very progressive. So maybe computer will be the strongest thing for me. And by that time, I was already building stuff with electronics and putting
Mhm.
stuff together and breaking stuff apart. So I was very curious child. So that was really a good fit, which leads to the age 10, which I was writing my first line of code. It's like,
Mhm.
10, print Daniel, 20, go to 10, which was perfect. And it's really blown my mind that I can do stuff outside of the electronic. I can actually, make pixel move. Age 13, Commodore 64.
Mhm. Mhm.
Few months after this, this beautiful computer was already wide open with wires going out of it, and I was putting LEDs together, so it was eight LED that was connected, and I built like sound displaying that also, so it's moving the light, and you're hearing the 8-bit sounds in the background,
Right.
and technically, I convert Commodore 64 to be Raspberry Pi of today. So that was the beginning. For me, I really understand technology, couldn't really understand human beings around me. So I was just,
Mm.
it was my safe place.
Yeah.
And yeah, so once I grew up, I just decided that I'm enjoying it. This is my hobby, so why not make money out of it? Started in IBM as a support. And
Mhm.
since then, I was always trying to move around. So,
Okay.
writing code. And then I think I'm the only developer who changed his position from being a developer back to being quality assurance.
Oh, really?
Everyone was doing the other way around.
Right, right,
And I was like, no, if I want to be a better software developer, I need to know how to test my code myself. Because
right, right,
that's
right.
and then later on, since I also have a lot of kind of an entrepreneur since early age, so I decided, okay, I know how to do the tech side. Let's now understand how to do the product side.
Right.
Later on, let's understand how to run a company. So all the time through my process, I was always writing code at night, but on the daytime, I was
Okay.
learning other different profession in order to eventually be, the one who can run my ideas from the beginning to the end without
Sure.
relying on other people. So that was the beginning, I guess, in a nutshell.
Fantastic. Yeah, yeah. And of course, and you and I met at the Google Accelerator, and
Right.
we immediately got talking about AIs and so on, and the latest LLMs, and I was struck by your comprehensive understanding of these things and your very practical tips about them. And but yeah, I guess for the listeners, I mean that's a great story. I was just saying one of my team members today about how I was programming on the Spectrum 48K back in the day and in BASIC and that whole sequence. I think both of us started there in the 70s and 80s. But yeah, so maybe you can bring the listeners up to date about what's your current focus at the moment.
So through the years, I found out that I'm very good at building architecture and doing the technology strategic for projects for company, and that's
Mm,
where I like to be. So
mm,
from my point of view, choosing the right technology at the early age of a startup or a company is very
mm,
important because later on, once you know, after you have like 2 years of coding or
mm.
product, and then something shift in the industry, you could get
Sure.
stuck, or you can actually kill your own company if you didn't choose the right technology or you
Right.
didn't migrate to the right technology at the right time.
Right.
And since I'm so curious and I love this industry, I'm all the time learning about what's coming new, what's coming next. I'm trying to be like
Right.
ahead of the curve. I like to be an early user of new technology. So it put me in a great position just to sit in a room and says, look, I know you want to use this technology or this
Mm.
framework or this computer language, but I see where your product is going.
Hmm.
Let's think about how is that the right fit, or
Sure.
what will be the future changes that we will need to do, or what will be the current
Mm.
struggle that we have to do, because sometimes choosing technology that is too early also put a lot of challenges.
Right. Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I'm become very good at that, and this is what I'm currently doing. I'm just helping startup to navigate this chaos and to figure out that, because I see you mentioned the accelerator. So I'm mentoring in the accelerator for I think now more than a decade.
Right.
So I met a few startups to the last decade,
Mm.
and sometimes I'm just spotting into the beginning. I'm sitting with the CTO and ask them, okay, why did you choose to write it in I don't know, Angular?
Right.
And the CTO said, yeah, that was my previous
Right. Right.
knowledge from my previous company. I say, okay, that's the wrong answer. I
Mm.
don't care. If you're a good developer, you can jump between frameworks, you
Mm.
can jump between
Mm.
languages, but I'm more concerned about what's the solution and is that the right framework for that solution. And sometimes it is, but that's a guess.
Right,
And
right,
yeah,
right. Yeah, so effectively you've got your kind of own consulting company at the moment, and
yes,
you will, help individual startups or even bigger companies
exactly.
navigate, you say, as you say, this landscape. Yeah, I mean that's really interesting what you say about the initial choice of technology, which I both agree and disagree. Well, it's kind of because I often find that what's the right way to articulate it? That some you can get involved in this kind of over engineering where sometimes in those discussions about, for example, how the company wants to grow and we're going to have to support this scale and we're going to have to put this and say, oh yes, well we must use this technology, we must use that technology. And sometimes, there's the counterexample where you just want to prototype something quickly for product market fit and agonizing about exactly what technology it is. I mean, if you've got a few developers who are doing this kind of stuff together, I mean, I guess it's about avoiding the lock-in, right? That's the key thing, rather than necessarily saying you have to get the right technology up front.
So upfront is a good. When is the time that we need to get the right technology? That's the question that you're
Mm.
asking, and I totally agree. If I'm doing like an MVP, even before MVP, just a demo for the investors,
Right.
or for ourselves to have like,
Hmm.
is that really can work? I don't
Mm.
care what language you're doing it. Just do it fast and do it quick.
Right, right.
But the problem is to convince a startup that is built from 5 or 10 people that
Mm.
already have an MVP that they just built on the weekend because they were still working
Yes, yes.
to stop in this point, said, okay, all this code is beautiful. Now let's
Right,
put it in the garbage
right, right, right.
and let's start again. I think today it's much more easier
Yes,
because of AI, and we're
yes,
probably going to talk about it soon.
yes, yes.
So today I can easily say, okay, let's migrate, just throw it into Claude 3.7, the code that you already have, and ask it to convert it to a different language.
Right.
And after a few minutes, we got not few minutes, but few hours, we can
Yeah.
we can have a stable code that actually running.
Yes.
But in the past, that used to be a challenge, a big challenge.
Yeah, yeah, and I guess we're identifying that point that, like, people may have, like, say, been working on the weekends. They were using the technology stack that they were used to from their previous organization, so, because
Yeah.
they've got limited time. They managed to unlock some funding, right? Suddenly they've got some more time, but they are tempted to, continue. Still they're still in this speed mindset. I've got to move fast. I'm going to carry on with this prototype. But yeah, as you say, AI has really changed the landscape. Let's run into our second question: is how is AI? And I say AI obviously can mean so many different things, but we've had an extraordinary change in the quality of the AI that's available over the last few years. How is it affecting both your life and work these days, would you say?
Significantly. Uh, so, um, so I knew because I really like new technology. I was
Mm.
familiar with machine learning, and so that was ML before it
Sure.
was become like family AI. Um, eh, like few years now, and I was playing
Mm.
with that, and I really enjoyed it, but I never saw a practical solution for it. So it was still like more on the data science area.
Yeah.
And there was some solution, and I was playing with code that, using Raspberry Pi with a camera to recognize birds that coming to our garden and stuff like that. I was
Uh-huh.
playing with that, but that was just for weekends fun.
Sure.
And I think it was 3 years ago. I was part of one of Google. There's another group in Google that I'm volunteering. It's Gold GD, the Google Developer Expert.
Okay.
And we have a summit once a year, and each one of the people that volunteer in this group is an expert enough in one or more Google product.
Okay.
And we like get a certificate from Google to go and advocate for the product and create content
Hmm.
to our community about it.
Hmm.
And we were in that summit, and the product that I was expert in was actually going a little bit down, and they suggest that we could choose whatever other
Yeah.
product that we want, and they will help us get the experience in it. And I was just looking at the all the meeting, and I said, wait, this AIML,
Hmm.
that sounds interesting.
Mm.
Let's see what's new in that area because
Hmm.
I know cloud, I know Android, I know all the other product. And I
Yeah.
was sitting there in a room with I think 30 or more GDEs back at the time. It was a small group,
Mm.
and and then I look around. Everyone around me was data scientists. They knew how to from scratch build any models that you want and how to
Right.
train them. That for sure. This is something that I'm not good at. It's too
Mm.
much mathematics for me. No, thank
Right.
you.
Right.
But what they displayed there was something that looked like API. It's looked like there's already something that as a developer I
Hmm.
can start use to my own coding.
Right. Right.
And that was like the moment I said, okay, I need to stop everything and start learning that because that this is the next big thing that's coming.
Right. Absolutely.
So that's what I did. I told all my customer goodbye. I'm not giving any support for the next few months.
Yeah.
And for 6 months, I only sat and learn all the time what
Right.
it is machine learning, what it is AI, how do you train
Yeah.
model, how you do all that stuff,
Mm.
in order to get to the level of our last conversation about to understand what's going on behind the scene.
Yes, indeed. Indeed.
And that's usually what helping me to make a decision how to choose the technology, how to
Right.
choose the right technology, and how to put things together. Because if you think about what we're doing, if you were playing as a child with Lego bricks,
Right.
if you want to build a very good stable house, you
Yes.
need to have a variety of different bricks, right?
Sure. Sure.
Same with technology.
Right. Right.
Same with program languages. If you know more about the language you're writing, you can be a better developer because you know you have also always an option and you can choose the best option for the right problem that you have.
Yes, yes. And you're referring there to like sort of really understanding, not just superficially, how does this work, but how is this
Right.
working behind the scenes? How can I practically use it? All of these things. And I guess there's an interesting thing now that there's on one side, yes, understanding all that. And as it happened, I was sort of between contracts when GPT-4 came out. And so I had this like 3 month period where I was like, oh wow. And that was really fortunate timing for me. And I really focused in on that. We've got to the point now where not just for you, like people like you and I, knowing that thing so well, we can actually be discussing the relative pros and cons with the AI itself. And it's actually, I'm not saying that everybody should get all of their advice from an AI, but I mean, over the last 2 years, we've moved from a point where people were sort of ridiculing the sort of suggestions that the AIs would make to a point where people are starting to consider them. And yeah, I mean, it sounds like your work now. I mean, I guess it would be a rare situation in which the engagement didn't involve some sort of AI API or some aspect, I don't know. Is that the case that like now pretty much everybody you're talking to, they're all interested in what AI should they be using? How should they be using AI? Or is it still like 50-50? What's the
Oh,
what's the sort?
unfortunately, it's not 50-50 where it should be.
Oh,
Because
okay.
like in any new technology, and it happened before with blockchain, with NFT, like every time
Right.
there's a sorry, hype, everyone
Yeah.
wanted. Everyone
Mm,
wanted to
mm,
jump and said,
mm,
yeah, we must have AI. And some of
mm.
the or some of the people that I'm talking to said, no, you don't. This is a solution. We have other tools that are doing a very good job.
Right. Right.
We don't need to use AI. Why? Because it's more expensive. It will
Right.
take more time. It's not reliable. We want a system because people forget you, you won't get the same result from AI if you ask the same question 2 times in a row.
Yeah. Right.
This is a non-deterministic system. So
Yes.
is that always good for your solution? Not necessarily.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So thinking is what I really like, and
Uh,
strategy is something that I'm really good at. So yeah, that's the thing that people sometimes miss when they say, yeah, we must have AI.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that non-determinism thing is something maybe we talked about before, and we'll come back to. But the so I guess what it sounds like then, yeah, I mean what you say is absolutely true. Each hype cycle, people want in on that thing because it's cool, not necessarily because it will actually solve their problem. And it's a careful process of working out is of the many different types of AI or new tech or whatever it happens to be, which one might actually suit what you're working on. But what it sounds like is that as it's not 50-50 that everybody's asking about AI and you're carefully pushing back and saying in the cases where you think it can help, you're saying, oh well, maybe this one can, and in other cases you're saying you guys probably shouldn't be using this in quite this way. Is that
Yeah, that's correct. And also, if you're using AI, at least understand what do you want to use in AI.
yeah,
And because everyone now want to have like a chatbot in their website
sure.
that's solving everything, but the technology is not there yet.
No, no, no,
So can you risk your reputation and your brand of giving the wrong answer to
absolutely.
the wrong user and trust me that will be in social media in 5 seconds. So thinking about all that and then harnessing the power of AI to actually solve problem in the business.
Mm,
So from my point of view, AI is a huge agent for automation, which sometimes
mm,
people miss that.
right.
But technology is mostly about automation. If you look at all technology,
Yes,
the industry revolution was about doing
automation.
automatically stuff that we used to do manually.
Yes.
I think AI is jumping us to the next level of that thing.
I tend to agree, and I often think about it in terms of like, the spreadsheets came out, and people who'd been, doing things by paper in hands and laboriously crossing them out and or erasing and so on. Now suddenly you could do that digitally. I mean, ironically, of course, even though now a single person could do the work of 10 people with their books and their pens and papers, actually, everybody was still working full time. I mean, this is interesting. Like I'm finding AI to be accelerating my work in so many different ways at the moment. But it's not going to be that I'm going to end up working 1 day a week. It's that I'm going to be expected to have, 100 times the output or 1,000 times the output. But yeah. But I guess I mean, unlike, with the spread, I mean, I guess maybe it is the same with the spreadsheet. Like, if you were back in the day advising people to use spreadsheets, you may then start using the spreadsheet yourself to help manage the customers that you were advising them on the spreadsheets. And I wonder there, like, apart from obviously you're investigating the AI, you're consulting for these companies about the AI, but is the AI also changing the way in which you work? Are you asking Gemini or GPT this or that or the other, or are you automating part? Are you starting to use some? Are you vibe coding at all? Are you using a bit of AI sprinkle? Has it changed the way you work, or is it still business as usual?
I, I would say something more dramatically. It changed the way I live.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Um, because I think the main thing that I'm using AI is to use it as a partner for my thinking process,
Right.
which is something that I see a lot of people ignore.
Mm-hmm.
And they're using AI more as a library that can give them information, which
Mm-hmm.
is, I think, part of the problem with AI, that it's not good with supplying information, but
Hmm.
it's amazing at critical thinking and thinking in general. So moving from thinking by myself and thinking with tools significantly change everything for me from the way I'm thinking, the way I'm working,
Yes.
the time I'm spending on stuff. So of course I'm for my work, for my coding hours,
Mm.
that was like a significant change. I have code today in production that was 100% generated by Claude.
Right.
No, it wasn't vibe coding as you said because there was a lot of thinking about it.
Right.
And from my point of view, we can, if you think about your coding like, let's say 3 years ago,
Yes.
uh, if you're looking at how much time you spend on each element of the coding, and coding is
Right.
not writing on the keyboard, right? Coding is first of all thinking. We
Hmm.
need to have this mental image in our head
Right.
of what's the problem. We need to
Hmm.
describe well the problem.
Yes.
What do I think is the best solution for it? And usually when you're thinking about it, you have this dissonance inside your head, like you have like one solution, and then you're saying, "Oh, I'm so idiot. This won't work because I didn't think
Uh-huh.
about this and that." And then you have so this is like a dialogue inside your head
Right.
that coming together. And only when we have this mental image of the solution, only then we coming to the keyboard.
Mm.
I used to joke like 2 years ago, someone asked me about this process, and I tell them that most of the coding I'm doing in bed
Right.
before I'm waking up because I'm waking up very early, but I'm
Hmm.
not leaving bed very early. I'm
Oh,
staying
really?
in bed and thinking.
Oh, okay.
And I used to do all the coding there with my eyes closed
Ah.
because it's all in my head. And only when I was feeling that I finish everything, I understand everything, I know how the solution, only then it's just, moving to the next room, opening the computer and dumping my mind into the keyboard, and that's the coding process.
Hmm.
And that was pretty quick most of the time, but it took me time, writing
Yeah,
code
sure.
and stuff like that. So the writing code part is not on my responsibility anymore. I don't need to think
Yeah.
about it anymore. I don't need to deal with it. I don't need to remember syntax.
Hmm.
This is something that generative code models know how to do amazingly.
Right. Yes.
They still don't know how to do the thinking process amazingly.
Right.
So they still need me in the loop. And I'm very happy this is why I have a job now. But so that part, I start not doing that in bed. I'm actually doing that in my office too. So I'm starting with describing what I'm thinking
Yes.
and then doing some kind of formatted brainstorming with one or two model at the same time.
Right.
Because I know that I always know my solution are amazing, right? Until I
Hmm.
write them down and they're not working well.
Yeah, they always feel good before you.
So, but now I have someone who's criticized my thought, my
Right.
way, and
Yes.
actually sometimes suggesting new ideas that I maybe forgot or maybe
Right.
even didn't know,
Sure.
which happens, we don't know everything. That's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's completely changed the processing, not only for coding that I'm doing, not only for the strategic that I'm doing for my customers,
Right.
but for almost everything.
Fascinating. Yeah, well, I mean, and I want to drill down on some of those things there. Like, um, a as you say, you can leave the actual kind of typing to the AI. I'm kind of interested there. Are you like what moment to moment? I mean, we'll come back to the thinking bit, but assuming that, you know, whether in the past you came up with yourself in bed or now you're, going backwards and forwards, you're debating it with the AIs, you've got a thought, okay, we want to do this. At the point that are you just using like a Claude 3.7 prompt and it gives you like an artifact that you then export, or are you using like an integrated thing like Cursor or Ada or Klein or something? How are you getting the code actually into the machine, shall we say?
So my new favorite tool is Cursor for the last, I don't know, few weeks
Oh
more.
yeah.
I really like it because it's allowed me to jump between models.
Hmm.
I don't
Right.
like to work with one model
Okay.
because
Yeah.
once you start working with them, you understand the pros and cons of each one of them.
Right.
And so for some, it's sometimes like I have a solution. I said, okay, I know that Gemini will provide better code in this case
Oh,
than
really?
Claude because it's only I always breaking it to pieces. I never gave them like read the entire file or the
Mm,
entire solution. It's always like let's work it this one piece by piece. So we
mm,
first thinking
mm,
about it together,
mm.
and once we understand the structure, now we're starting like okay, now we're doing this function, now we're doing this class. Now so we
Right.
moving bit by bit.
Okay.
So I do jump between them, and Cursor is magical with that, especially
Mm,
because it's all the time indexing the current code that we have.
right.
So
Right.
even when I'm moving between model, I
Yes.
know that they can see the entire stock, and
Yeah.
I also am using the tools um, to already structure. It's like the prompt to structure the way I like to write the code,
Yes.
which is very important. So now all the code look the same because before that, if you're just doing patches, it look like that.
Yeah. Right. Right.
You don't want your code to look like patches. So that's for now my favorite tools.
Yeah.
I have to admit, I'm changing tools like every
Right.
month because of every time something comes out and I'm testing that, I said, okay, I should probably move to this one.
Yeah, I mean it's a crazy time, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm also I've kind of gone all in the last sort of month or so on Cursor IDE. Yeah, the and I'm I think as I'm learning better how to use Cursor, I'm getting better results
Yeah.
from it. Yeah, there's gosh, maybe I'm diving too deep, but can you give a very like I tend to use Claude 3.7 myself. What do you think that the Gemini does better for coding than Claude,
Um,
vice versa?
it's more of a gut feeling. First of all, everything that connected to working with the GCP or other Google technology, I found Gemini to understand it better.
Okay, got you.
And by the way, you do have in Cursor this option to add documentation. So you can
Right,
just give them the link of the instruction
right.
online, and it will index that, and it will give you like a nice, better version of the solution than just using the training knowledge that the model have. So
Yes,
that's also very recommended. Um, I think it's also about um, I'm definitely using Gemini when I need to put a lot of information because 1 million token window, it's
right.
crazy.
Mm,
And sometimes I'm doing the thinking process and I'm producing a lot of information out of the thinking process. So I'm
right,
copying that into Gemini and I have enough, and I will still get a good result because sometimes when you putting too much information on the input, especially GPT and sometimes even Claude,
right.
you find it struggling to give
Yeah,
you good output.
got you. Yeah, no,
But Gemini have no problem. I loaded it with books and I still got
that's
amazing thinking process on the output.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, it's interesting you mentioned that the cursor instruction link. I haven't used that yet, but I've done that in other contexts in which I've said, I mean, in chats with GPT where it's getting confused, and I'm like, no, look at this documentation. Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, the very specific on cursor is that I mean that was why it was originally sold to me was that sort of RAG LLMing. Although, yeah, it sometimes I get the thing and it says to me, "Oh, I can't see your code." It seems like you have to kind of somewhat explicitly like do say at like given this code base and do like an at code base. It seems like not necessarily automatic that it will always send all of the code. Do you know what I mean? You still have to be
Yeah,
explicitly doing that.
I think that's the advantage of it. So first of all, with every tool, especially Cursor, but every tool that you're using, I think learning about the tool it's
Mm,
important because we like think that we don't need like to spend time and to really understand the tool, and we will get it because we always get it, right?
eventually.
But sometimes we're missing a lot of
Oh
information
yeah.
and a lot of things through the process. So um, if you remember, we used to say RTFM
Yes.
for someone who didn't
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
spend the time and learn about something. I think
Yes.
today, you need to go to YouTube. It's
Right.
more of like spend the time with other people who are
Mm,
using the tool.
mm,
YouTube, from my point of view, is a great learning platform.
yeah.
I'm learning a lot of stuff there.
Yeah.
Um, so So this is also the recommendation I give to people. If you're choosing a new tool, even if you're choosing a new
Mm,
model, that's fine. There's a new model, I know, Claude 3.7 went out. Wait a week or two and then look at YouTube how people use it. And you will find some very interesting thing that you didn't thought about that you can actually get out of the model.
yeah. No, I think that's fantastic advice. I have a bit of a, I like an addictive personality, and I sort of almost aggressively don't watch videos on YouTube in order to not get sucked in too far. But I think that's good advice. I think it, yeah, it's that's I mean that's partly why I love pair programming so much is that when you're pairing with other people who will have that experience, you get some, and like I say, the YouTube, no, it's right. And so what, coming back to the sort of slightly higher level of yeah, but so when you're saying like, oh, I've got code in production that was written almost exclusively or exclusively by Claude via Cursor, that you're still, like you were saying, you're going like function by you've asked it for something, it's given you a sketch of something, and then you've gone through, okay, like let's look at this. I mean, this is very much paralleling my own workflow at the moment, is I might ask it for a feature on an existing code base, it'll do something, and then I will step through it in the debugger and say, actually, well, what you've done here needs to be a bit more like this. And I'll sort of, even if it wrote all the code, I will have looked at all the code that it's written, at least
For
for me.
sure.
Is that the,
For
so that's
sure. So if you remember when Stack Overflow was very like the go-to for every developers, we
yes,
used to say a good developer copy, a bad developer paste.
right, right.
It's the same thing with AI.
Yes, yes,
You own the code. You're
yes,
the one who's getting the money for this code.
right, right.
Understand what's going on there. And I think
Yes,
it's not like Stack Overflow, which sometimes you didn't really get a deep understanding of it.
yes,
With AI, if you don't understand something, just ask.
yeah,
And
right.
it will explain to you. And
Yes,
really,
indeed.
and sometimes when I'm asking, I also trying to, I'm not just asking, explain to me, explain to me, and then give me what's the other option.
Right.
If I'm not going with your strategy.
Yes.
Or what's the downsides of your strategy? What do I pay? Do I pay with memory? Do I
Right.
pay with procedure? What's are the
Mm,
pay for that? Because there's always like, there's always a choice when
right,
you're
right.
doing development. So at least understand that and be. This is why I really like code reviewing with people, not with computers, not
Yeah,
with
yeah.
AI.
Yes,
Be able to stand behind your code and explain why you choose this line.
sure.
If you cannot do that, then you don't understand your code. So don't
Yeah,
don't deploy it. Don't do it.
no. Yeah, no. I think that's great advice. I mean, of course, it's with the vibe coding thing. It's very tempting for people who are time pressured to just start accepting. And yeah, so I think that's fantastic advice about being able to stand behind every line of your code. Yeah, and I guess you like the meta instructions. You're kind of you are in a process of not teaching Claude 3.7 because, of course, that's a sort of a static thing, or Gemini, they're static, in the short term, you're with Cursor or whether it would be VS Code or whatever, you're basically putting in what have you called settings where you say, I like this style of code and this style of code. So you're gradually educating not
Yeah,
the individual AIs, but the system to understand how you like to do coding. So you're going to get something that's, like you're saying, consistent across the whole code
exactly.
base, which is
And and I think also it's not only about coding. It's
mm,
about using generative models in general.
mm,
You always have to be the expert in the room.
hmm
So I wouldn't ask GPT to write me a legal document because I don't know how to read a legal document.
right,
So how do I know if that's a good one or not?
exactly,
So I'm only using generative AI to subject that I already know about it
right, right,
or to learn with them about something.
right,
But the result has to be something that I can sign on it. If
yes,
I can't sign on it, I won't send it.
yes. No, I think that's exactly right. I mean, and I use the Cursor ID for my coding, but I quite like the Chat GPT standalone desktop interface, particularly for some kinds of things that are more like DevOpsy kind of stuff. And there
Yeah.
was I'll briefly tell the story of like last Friday we had this, we've been having this intermittent issue on production that was an internal tool. It was not a particular big deal. It was like irritating every couple of weeks. Oh, what's this thing again? And it's the kind of thing that it's all in the Azure stack, and I just thought, oh, it's Friday afternoon. I'll just ask GPT. Any ideas there? And I explained that we had this only occurring on the production server, but not on dev and not locally. And its initial approach was, and it got really into the tech weeds detail that I knew was wrong. I mean, I knew that no, I'm not going to go down off on these things
Yeah.
because I know it's, so I said to it, like, no, no, okay, yeah, but let me, refer you back to my earlier statements. It's working here and here, but not here. So it must be down to some difference between these two environments. And then it was like, oh yeah, you're right, of course. And it gave me a whole series of things. And within 20 minutes, I had the little incantation in Azure to like the details are not important, but it's something that I think wouldn't necessarily have bothered to come up with. It would have taken me, a couple of days to kind of really get down into the weeds of like exactly how the Azure stack was working. But it gave me like a little command line thing, bang, and it was fixed. And I'd fixed it in 25 minutes. But because I was the expert in the room, if I had
Yeah.
been a more junior developer and followed its initial advice, I would have spent hours on something that was absolutely completely irrelevant. So I mean, I might have had a fun time, but
For sure.
yeah,
But
yeah,
it lead me to I think one of the tips that I love to give, and I think you and your listener can try it right immediately after they're listening to that.
yeah,
And that's going back to the thinking process with AI.
right.
When it's like it's become like a habit for me.
Mm,
The first prompt I'm using doesn't matter what it is. The
mm,
first request, I'm always ending with a line that says, ask me questions that will help you generate a better something. It could be
uh-huh,
code, email, whatever.
uh-huh,
Just copy this line and paste it on any first prompt you're doing on a conversation with AI.
yeah,
And that's changed from I'm giving you order, and remember, those
mm,
models were trained to be, uh, in a way, our slave. You know, they were trained to give us answers no matter
yes,
what. This is
sure,
why we're getting hallucination,
right, right,
because we're asking for something that they don't know, but they still have to obey to the first command, and they're doing that.
right, right,
So I'm just changing the style of the conversation from
mm,
I'm saying you doing to I'm saying you asking question.
right,
And that's a conversation. If you remember, I talked about the conversation I have in my head when I'm thinking.
sure, yes,
I'm moving to that zone.
yeah,
And
yeah,
and you will be surprised, even if you describing like the basic function that you ask. Give me a function that, I don't know,
mm,
sorting a list of names.
yes,
That sounds like a very easy task to do, right?
mm-hmm,
And then you're telling me, ask the question. The first question you probably ask you is it all lowercase or is it mixed names?
mm, mm,
Is a name with lowercase and uppercase is the same name or it's a different name?
right,
Right? This is answer that I didn't initially describe, but it's
right,
very important to how the solution is going to look.
right,
How do
right,
you handle error casing? Because
mm,
most of the generative code that you're producing doesn't have error handling.
no, no,
But I hope your code do have error handling because that's very important.
yes, yeah, no.
So there's a lot of things that does just one line change everything.
Brilliant, brilliant. And so yeah, no, I'm glad you took us back to the thinking thing because that was exactly where I wanted to go. Is as you're saying now, you tend to get out a bit of little earlier with those thoughts, and you're collaborating with the AI, be it Gemini or Claude or whoever, and you're kind of whether it's I guess at the beginning or you're pitching the challenge that you're thinking of, and maybe even parts of the solution that you've started thinking about, but you're asking the AI to engage in almost a Socratic dialogue with you
Exactly.
to say like let's bash this idea out together and that you're doing just in the rather than in cursor per se, you're just doing that in a chat, whether it's a standalone desktop app or whatever, you're just doing that in the chat, and it's not necessarily generating any code in the first instance, you're just bashing around the idea. Is that
Yeah.
right?
So first of all, you can also do it in cursor. Just add the line, and also you should add this line to any other platform.
Yeah,
Don't write code.
right,
It's that simple.
sure,
Because
yes,
once again, they trained it to be like for a very, very lazy people.
yes, yes.
And I think that we should be lazy people of the way Bill Gates described lazy people.
Hmm,
You
hmm.
know the quote of Bill
I'm
Gates?
not sure. Remind me.
I think I have it somewhere over here. I can read it exactly to you. Just a
Mm-hmm.
second. Yeah, there it is. I will always choose a lazy person to do a difficult job because they will find an easy way to do it.
Right, got you.
So I'm always telling the people around me, be a lazy developer,
Uh-huh.
The Bill Gates style, not your parent style,
Right, right, right,
right? And because I think that's very important to find the right solution and to
yeah,
have the process. The process is not shorter.
right,
I'm still working 24 hours 7,
right,
but the quality of the results and the speed
yeah.
that I'm getting to a good quality is much more faster.
Yeah. Well, yeah, fantastic. It's well, our third question is what's your most exciting tech hack? But I think we found it naturalistically there. It sounds like that changing the dialogue,
Exactly.
for that thinking process. Yeah, wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then if you taking it one step forward, for instance, the way I'm doing code review. So
right.
code review, I think today it should be like a must. Before you're doing code review with another teammate,
Mm-hmm.
don't waste the time. First of all, do it with AI.
Right.
So and I'm I'm playing usually the game of using two different models to do one code review.
Okay.
So one model will be the one who's doing the reviewing,
Uh-huh.
and the other model will be the one who's doing the fixing. And I will be
Oh,
the
really?
negotiating between them. I'll still be the expert.
Okay.
Because sometimes you're getting like advice that says, yo, you need to do that, and you know that you don't need to do it, right?
Right, 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 right.
It's not fit for your solution.
Okay, and
So
that then you can also be in effectively your own cursor, and you can say, "Hey Gemini, this is the code now. I've got it working. Can you give me
right,
any, any other thoughts about it?" And you'll do, da, 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 and then okay, I reject these three. This one actually, that's quite a good idea. Let me ask GPT to do that for me, or
right.
3.7.
And once again, I'm not asking GPT to do it. I'm starting said, this is what I'm thinking about. Now ask me questions, how to make it better, or tell me what do you think I'm wrong.
Yes, yes, right.
I want the other model also not to apply immediately, but to think a little bit, to stop on the problem a little bit and
Yes.
figure out is that the really the best solution we can find for it.
Mm, mm, mm,
And
mm.
sometimes you find I find myself like, copy chat from one to another because there is some disagreement and I'm
Mm,
not feeling that I know the right answer yet. And once
mm.
I know the right answer, I'm saying, okay, stop now, do it like this, let's move on.
Yeah, interesting, fascinating stuff. I mean, so many things I could dive into. I think there's it really interesting on the code review about the nature of tests, also on the non-determinism. But I guess as we haven't got so much time left. I'm tempted to move in to where we see that it's all going. Yeah, it's we're living in remarkable times.
Yes.
I mean, I was just listening to a podcast this morning, I think from the CEO of Poolside, who was saying he thinks there's going to be superhuman kind of AI assistant intelligence within the next 18 to 36 months. No one's got a crystal ball. No one
Right.
knows what's going to happen. I suspect that you are like me, somewhat surprised with how quickly things have moved over the last few years. I was not expecting to see this level of AI in our lifetimes. Like you're obviously as excited as I am about the current, we're both having fun, right? Doing our jobs. We're
Yes.
feeling we're feeling accelerated. We're at the cutting, if not bleeding edge. How do you see it evolving from here?
Um, I think it's a huge it's a huge question, and I will try to narrow it to the area that I feel comfortable with.
Sure.
Okay? I can't wait for AIOS.
Okay.
Okay, why? Everyone's saying AI will take the jobs of code developers and stuff like that. I think not in the start, but I'm trying to break it down. What is an operating system?
Mm,
In a way, when you think about computer, um, every computer have an input, processing, and output.
mm-hmm,
If you don't have those three, it's not a computer, right?
mm-hmm,
By the way, if you don't have those three, it's not a human being also, because I think
mm-hmm.
human beings also need to have like an input, processing, and output. And
Right.
I could value a computer and humans by the same by the same metrics of results.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so if you're thinking about operating system is the crucial bridge between the hardware and the software, right?
Mm,
And
mm.
why do we need the software? We need the software in the end of the day because before we had operating system, go back to a tuning machine and
Right.
all the old technology, you have a processing. The input was button that you have to
Yeah,
up or
yeah,
down,
yeah,
and the output was lights that turn on and off,
yeah,
right? That was
yeah.
very hard for us to get like good results. Through
Sure.
the year, we technology moved forward and we found better way to put the input and the output together. That was fine, but we still needed something that will convert the input back into computer language, real computer language, which is
Mm,
0, 1, binary, whatever,
mm,
and back to the output. We always had this something that translate
hmm.
our language
Right.
to energy, to electricity.
To moving through the circuit.
Yeah, exactly. Now, when you're thinking about, but and by the way, this is why we also have like, if you think about JavaScript, right, is a language
Mm,
that compile in the browser that is written in another language that is a little bit more
yeah,
hard to understand,
sure.
but that's also going through to a compiler
Hmm.
in order in the end of it to be 0, 1, 0, 1,
Yeah,
0, 0.
sure.
Okay. When you think about the state that we have right now with machine learning models, what they're really, really good at is translating one meaning to another.
Mm,
That's their specialty. This is why everything started.
right, from the
Okay?
translation, indeed.
Translation. That was the beginning of everything
Yeah, yeah.
for this
For this,
generative
for the
AI.
LLMs, yeah.
So if you can describe it in a language,
Mm,
you can probably train a model to do it.
hmm.
So yes, we are only in the beginning. Computer power is still not enough. We don't have enough. Everything
Mm,
is not enough. But we already learned from the history that technology always catch up in the end.
yes,
So I believe we will get to a point that we will have an operating system that is based on model.
right.
And for me, I want to be alive when that will happen. And I will explain why. Right now, if you want to do something with your phone, which
Mm,
have an amazing operating system,
hmm.
you must have an application that you download
Right.
in order to do it.
Mm, mm, mm.
This application someone build usually to make money.
Yeah,
So we build it that it will sit me and you in the same app, right? It's not
right.
a personal app,
No,
and I cannot change it to be personal for my needs.
no, right.
Okay, so if I want like to have a Google map that can get me from point A to point B without repeating the same path that I did last time because I
Right.
like to travel,
Sure.
there is no flag for this feature
No.
because it's useless feature. Only crazy people like me we want it. The rest want to either to be short distance or short
Sure.
time.
Yes.
But I really need this feature.
Yes, yes.
I think in the future, once we will have this AI OS, there
Yes.
will be a model that won't need to have any app at all
Right.
because he will know how to translate what I actually saying
Yes.
into the hardware to get the results right.
Yes.
So it won't need a map app. It will just create a map based on my need.
Right.
And that will be a day that I can't wait because as an entrepreneur, all the things that I'm doing is
Yes.
because I have a problem and I need to
Yes.
solve it. And I'm thinking if there's enough people who need the same solution, maybe I can make money out of it.
Uh,
But in that point, when I will have a problem, I will have the device to solve it for me.
yes. Yes. No, that's it's a beautiful vision. And I can relate to that very much so with, there are various individual applications that I have, like Spotify, same thing with Google Maps or what have you, where I would like it to be just so. And at the moment, my only option is I might, send an email, which is,
Yeah.
one of many thousands of tens of thousands of people are getting. Who knows if it'll have the impact? Yes. And I think, well, it does remind me actually of an earlier stage where I remember when I was based in the States and I think I was this was in a transitionary, this is going back like 20 years, where, the web was becoming faster and faster and it was easier to find things. And I'd move from a period before where it was still, a little bit book based, the web search was a little bit slow. I was starting to have ideas. And then I remember this particular thing, was probably about 2006 or something, where I, you know, I would be able to find someone else having a similar idea who'd already implemented something. And there was a kind of going from, oh, I don't need to build this. Here's this open source thing. I could just grab that. And I switched over from a kind of like always trying to make my own stuff to let me, find what other people have done. And I guess this AIOS, I mean, it will have like the components of like t tools that it can use, which may have been extracted from Google Maps or whatever they are, and it will sort of assemble them on on the fly to get you what you need, is the kind of vision that you're talking about there.
Exactly. And by the way, the thing that you did in the past, I think now I'm doing it the other way around.
Oh, really?
So if you go to my YouTube channels, there is a video that I did how now I'm taking open source solution,
Uh-huh.
running them to AI, and getting my own library that is
Right.
right, that's exactly what I need. Because
Right.
usually when you're finding other people's solution, there
Yeah.
is a lot of overhead that you have to put into your code. So they are bigger than what you need, and
Yeah.
they have dependency that sometimes you don't need,
Right.
and they don't
Right.
doing the logging the way you like it and stuff like that.
Yes.
So I've just had a project that I did the other way around. I took the documentation of an open source library
Yeah.
and I changed it to exactly what I need. And
Right.
then I did this session that I'm doing with Claude and the rest.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
got my own library that is very small and just exactly what I needed.
Yeah, yeah, that's fascinating. And our whole relationship with code and libraries is evolving in very strange ways here. It is a fascinating time. I don't know, like how talking about time. I mean, I guess I'll leave these two things as not necessarily that we have to dive into them. Maybe we'll have you back on the show at some future point. One, that non-determinism issue is something that, when I write my own GPTs locally, I am able to make them be deterministic. I set the
Right.
random seeds all the way through. Something that I've not yet had anybody able to answer me is the non-determinism that we see at the level of very, very large language models, is that an intrinsic aspect of them, or is that because just, throughout the architecture, they haven't, I mean, like, because various providers have tried to offer a seed setting, but it generally doesn't seem to work. And I don't know anybody who's anyway, we can leave that as an open question.
Oh, I
But
have answer for that, but we need more time.
Okay, yeah. So maybe we'll talk separately about that. I think that's you always keep people hungry for more. I'd love to talk more about testing and code review, but we've got 5 minutes left, and maybe I mean you very cleverly and sensibly reduced the future of AI question down to the AIOS, which is fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. I'm just gonna prompt into going into our final question is where I ask what does it all mean, the life, the universe, and everything, and let me flavor that with I often struggle with some of the AI luminaries who seem to say, "Oh, there's no way that AI could ever be, against you. How could they ever become? There are tools that we tell them what to do. How could they ever, want different things from us?" I'm not an AI doomer. I'm not saying it's all. I mean, I'm excited to work in AI, but I can't see any reason why they couldn't become super intelligent and have their own needs and motivations and so on. But and you may not want to address that, but I'm asking the question: where is this all going? Is this the universe gradually discovering itself? Is an AI an important part of that? Where do you see it going, bigger picture? Even if you're not the expert on those things, I'd love to get your take on the longer term.
I wish we will get to the part that AI um, is at the point of evolution that it could be self,
Right.
defined itself as self,
Mm,
something that we human did many years ago.
mm, mm,
I'm afraid I'm less optimistic because until that point, AI is still just a tool.
mm,
And if we're learning from history, the problem with tools, it's not the tools itself, it's the
mm.
people who are using the tools.
Right, right.
So you can take a sharp object that we call knife,
Mm,
you
mm,
can put it in the hand of a doctor and it will heal people.
mm.
You can put it in the hand of a chef and it will give you like a great dish.
Yes,
And you could put it in the hand of a crazy person and you got few people dead around you.
right, absolutely.
It's the same tool.
Yes, yes.
So that's what I really scare of. And I
Mm,
don't think I don't see I'm not optimistic about it. I think that's where
mm.
we the problem is not the AI as a tool. The problem is people. We need more good people.
Okay, yes, yes.
That's the problem.
That's really interesting. Yeah, and you sort of flip that there. Like so almost you're more concerned about the harm that may come from people with the wrong intentions, or even people well-intentioned people who are accidentally have side effects that they're not that
Yeah.
hasn't been thought through. That's the bigger danger area than if the AI actually starts being able to have its own intent, it may actually be a more rounded, thoughtful kind of self than many humans, perhaps.
Yeah, but that's like I that's too far away for me to think and to be worried. I'm really worried because the problem with this tool, we have a tool who knows how to tell story.
Yeah.
We never had that before. Before that, only people
Mm,
could tell story. And if you look around you, philosophically, everything is a story. The
indeed.
money that you have is a story. Someone told you a
Yes.
story that this piece of paper or this number on the
Yes.
computer
Yes.
can buy you stuff, and you're buying stuff.
Right.
Border are stories. The
Yes.
Bible, I'm sorry, it's a story.
Right. Right. Right.
First of all, could be true, could be not true, but it's still a story.
Yes.
Very, um, we are moving by stories
Yes.
all of our life. And now we have something that can help other people to tell a story that is personal to us
Mm,
and can affect us.
mm.
That's a problem.
Yeah. Well, it's with great power comes great
Yes.
responsibility. Yeah. Oh, I love what you're saying about stories there because exactly, money and religion and so on, and all of these things. I think we often treat money as if it were a physical substance, but it only works to the extent that people believe in the story. And if
Right.
enough people stop believing in the story, then in the same way with the religion or indeed anything, it all fades away. But so, well, maybe let's. I mean, it's been a fantastic conversation. Perhaps we'll move towards wrapping up on, what's the most important story to you? What's the story that gets you up in the morning?
Uh, it's changed all the time, of course. Uh, Now what I'm trying to think most of the time is about how to teach children. Um, it's not how to think, it's how to think critically. So critical thinking.
Mm,
How
mm,
do you teach someone else to do it? I know I'm very good at it. I don't
mm,
know who teach me and how and why.
mm,
And I think that's very crucial in the world that AI is creating stories
mm.
that doesn't matter if they are right or true,
Yes.
but we getting them on the same challenge that we thought that they're always bringing us the right or the truth. So I think for the next generation, this is a very important skill that I don't know if anyone knows, please meet me up. So
Right.
I want to find a way to teach other people how to use critical thinking.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, it's I am running that up my flagpole and I am saluting that. I say to my own kids, I try and encourage them pragmatic skepticism. Like that's yeah, how we get that across the next generation, absolutely key. Daniel, it's been fantastic. Is there anything that you're doing, you've got upcoming that you'd like us to promote for you?
My LinkedIn, my YouTube channels, that the two things. I'm running now a workshop for senior developers how to use generative code, but I'm too busy and I don't have any openings soon. But if you will keep looking at my LinkedIn, once I have, I think it's a very interesting. It's not about how to code with AI. It's more about how to level up our knowledge and our way of working with AI.
Yes.
So this
Yes.
is something that I think there's a lot of tools that people are missing,
Mm,
and I'm just
mm.
trying to spread the word and make people work better, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Work smarter, not harder, as they say. Yeah, brilliant. Well, we'll get the links for those in the show notes. Yeah, I'll just mention, we have rebranded to the AI Leadership Podcast. We're still a part of, I'm in the Rebel AI community. We're going to be having interviews with more people from the Rebel AI community, but also people outside the Rebel AI community, fantastic leaders in the space of AI, like Daniel Gwerzman, who we've been talking to today. So thanks, everyone. Big thanks to Daniel. This wraps up this episode of AI Leadership. If you'd like to be on the podcast or indeed join the Rebel AI community, please don't hesitate to reach out to me, Sam Joseph, at sam@neurogrid.com, and we'll see you all again soon. Bye for now.